everybody, this is Lee Smith and you're joining me for a walkabout. Today I'm starting the process of getting my driver's license. That means I have to get my license translated into Vietnamese. I also need to have my driver's license notarized. So I'm gonna go ahead and walk and do that. Should take me about 40 minutes to get there. And while I was walking, I thought I would share my impressions of Vietnam. I've only been here a little over 3 weeks, so I'm not going to tell you that this is a courageous insight, but these are just my first impressions. And I don't know if you, the viewer, are from New Zealand or Australia or South Africa, but from an American's perspective, this reminds me very much of America in the 1970s. The first thing that comes to mind is, as I'm walking down these residential streets, it's very clean. I see people out all the time brushing off the leaves off their patios and washing the sidewalks. It's very clean. But at the same time, when you go into more urban areas and there's an abandoned lot, trash can pile up on the lot. And that reminds me of the United States back in the 1970s. Remember the commercial with the crying Indian? That was a promotional campaign to help fight people littering. Well, it's kind of the same thing here. People in Vietnam are very conservative. Now, I know what you're probably saying, 1970s America wasn't very conservative, but I'm in Da Nang. I'm not in Hanoi or Saigon. This is more of a smaller beach town. So people here are fairly conservative in the way they deal with each other. Nobody gets angry. It's seen as a sign of losing face. You don't shout. And people's dealings with each other, when men and women date, it's a very long courtship. And when they do get married, they tend to live with their families. This reminds me a lot of the way rural America was. Something else that reminds me of the 1970s United States are the prices. Things are relatively inexpensive here. The American dollar is very strong. I have a large studio apartment with a partial view of the ocean. I'm about a block away. I pay $410 a month American, which how much would that apartment cost me in Miami? I go out for dinner. I think the most expensive dinner I've had here was $8. Most of the time I get a meal and it's $4, or I get a bowl of pho, and it's $2, or I get some banh mi on the way home, it's $1. Something else that's going on a lot here is construction. This is a heyday for large building construction, and I haven't seen anything like that in the United States since the 1970s. A lot of very large buildings going up the beach, especially extending north. But also, I'm here, I'm walking towards the Han Bridge. I'm gonna cross the river. And even here, everywhere I go, I hear construction constantly. People are constantly building large, building small. This is a very busy and very prosperous town. As I understand, GDP is going up about 6% a year. I'm gonna check that number and I'll put down a graphic if it's wrong. And this is considered more or less a boom town. Okay, so I've made my way down to the main road that leads to the Han Bridge, and sort of getting away from the 1970s metaphor. Something I noticed here is that the differences in wealth is different than in the United States. And by that I mean, when you're in America, if you're really poor, there's no place for you to buy anything. There are no tiny little shops. I mean, there's bodegas, but you don't see those everywhere. What you see are a lot of grocery stores, and for the most part, if you want to buy groceries, it's the same price roughly anywhere. But in Vietnam, there's a price point for everything. If you are very poor, there are local markets where you can go buy basic food stuff, you negotiate for it, and it's very cheap. If you're in the middle range, you could go to the market and then you can buy some things at a grocery store or one of the smaller shopping stores. And if you're wealthy, well, I'm not wealthy, I don't know where they go to buy things, but I can tell you that there are some very nice department stores where clothes and jewelry and perfume are at American prices. So I assume that's where wealthy people go. In America, if you've got a tan, it shows that you're well off, you've been on vacation sunny, and you want to come back with a nice sunny tan because it shows that you can afford a vacation in someplace warm. At least that's how things were in the Midwest. Vietnam, it's just the opposite. If you have dark skin, it shows that you work outside for a living. And wealthy people have white skin. So as a status symbol, everybody tries to have, or at least anybody who cares tries to have white skin. So there's moisturizers with skin whitening cream in it, and when women go outside, a lot of times they'll dress, even, this is fairly warm weather, I'm going to say it's about 26, 27 degrees, and people will dress in long jackets, face coverings, hats, the whole 9 yards. Because they want white skin, because that's associated with somebody who has money or somebody who works in an office and doesn't have to work outside. Alright, it can probably go without saying, but the motorbike is king in Da Nang, Vietnam. There are cars here, but that's for the more affluent middle class. Beyond that, everyone rides a motorbike. You'll see 20 motorbikes for every car, 30 motorbikes for every car. Downtown, I see a lot more cars. The more I get closer to the beach, I see a lot more motorbikes. And they use their motorbikes for everything. It's not uncommon to see a family of 4, a husband and a wife, 2 kids riding a motorbike. Also, it's not uncommon to see somebody with a trailer behind them, pulling produce or pulling pipe or just carrying construction loads behind their motorbike. The motorbike here is used for everything. And just because this is a developing nation, do not think that the people in Vietnam are not ingenious. They can find any way to use a motorbike to get something from point A to point B. So I just finished crossing the Han Bridge, and from what I understand, the Han Bridge is unique in that it rotates. The middle of it rotates to allow shipping traffic to go through from 11:45 p.m. to midnight every night. Okay, so I finally found a store to buy my HDMI cable. To be honest, I just stumbled across this, across the street, and they had exactly what I wanted. The total cost was 100,000 Vietnamese dong, which is about $4 for a 2-meter HDMI cable. To me, that's not a bad price. This is getting closer to downtown Da Nang. It's a lot different from where I live. It's more modern, more developed. You'll see less tiny restaurants attached to homes, and you'll see more businesses selling tennis shoes and a lot more aggressive, colorful marketing, more like you would see from a more modern Asian city. Alright, so I spoke to the people at the translation service, and 90,000 dong later, which is about $3.50, I come back 2 business days later, which this is Thursday, so I have to come back Monday at 4 o'clock, and I will have a translation of my driver's license. Hopefully it will be notarized, and I can take that to the Vietnamese Da Nang Department of DMV and see what happens next. Got my HDMI cable. Bought a bottle of soda so I don't sweat to death. Got my translating done. They took my license, gave me a receipt. Well, I can't say it's done. It's being done. It's Thursday. I don't get to go back till Monday at 4. And now I'm going to the bank to get some cash. You know, another impression that I have of Vietnam is how relaxing it is. Where I live, I've got the ocean on my doorstep to the east. I come to the west and there's a river. Water is just, it's very relaxing. I think that's why we like to go to vacation to the beach. And on top of that, there's also the lifestyle of the people I've met in Vietnam. They don't have the rush, the rat race, the need to constantly be reaching for that brass ring. After a while, it just starts to rub off on you. And I'll admit, sometimes it can be annoying. When I go in and I want to get something done and they tell me to come back 5 days later, but after a while you just sort of relax and you go with it. And this relaxed attitude, I hope I bring that with me when I come back to America. All in all, I like to think it was a successful day. I purchased a 2-meter HDMI cable for 100,000 dong. I went to the translators. They're gonna charge me 90,000 dong to get my English license translated to Vietnamese. And let's see, I got a little something to drink. By a little something to drink, I mean a small bottle of orange soda, because it is warm today. It got up to 29 degrees Celsius. Oh, what else did I do? Went to the bank, withdrew some money so I get to eat for another week. Took a nice walk along the river, and now I'm heading home. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the video.